Okay, hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to this lecture. This is a theoretical lecture just to explain the difference between NATs and Bastion servers. So basically you've built both already at this stage. You built out a Bastion server which we used as our web server right at the beginning of the course, and then we've created our own NAT instances and NAT gateways. So let's have a look at a network diagram and I'll show you the exact difference between them. If you remember, a NAT instance was used to route traffic to our EC2 instances that are in our private subnet, and that's internet traffic. So it's giving these instances internet traffic. They are able to connect out through to the internet, but people within the internet couldn't use like SSH or RDP to connect via a NAT into our instances to basically administer our servers. If you wanted to do that, what you would typically do is have what's called a Bastion host, or in Australia we call them jump boxes, and that basically allows you to SSH or RDP into your Bastion and then initiate a private connection over the private network to your instances to administer them using SSH or RDP. So basically Bastions are used just for administration only, and the idea is that instead of having to harden a fleet of EC2 instances for security purposes, you can just have one hardened Bastion and then you access all your instances in a private subnet through that hardened Bastion. So this is the one that you would really beef up. You'd probably lock down your SSH and RDP ports to your specific IP addresses, for example, and then that way only you can connect to the Bastion and administer it, and then you do that over a private network connection. So hopefully that all makes sense to you guys. NAT instances are very much on their way out. We are starting to use NAT gateways now, but NAT instances still come up in the exam. A NAT instance will always be behind a security group, whereas a NAT gateway is not behind a security group, is security group independent. And of course with NAT gateways, is Amazon do all the security patches for the instance, and they also make it highly available. Now you probably are going to get a lot of different scenario questions around how to make a Bastion instance highly available. With any kind of high availability, obviously you're going to want multiple subnets. One subnet always equals one availability zone, so you're always going to want at least two public subnets. You could have a Bastion in each public subnet, and you could do things like auto-scaling groups, so that if you you have a minimum of one Bastion, and then that way if that Bastion host goes down, the auto scaling group will deploy it into either one availability zone or the other, and then you could have Route 53 running health checks on that Bastion server. So that's how you build out a highly resilient Bastion network. With NAT instances you do something similar, but you'd have to have some kind of script to automatically fail over your NATs. But with NAT gateways, which I don't have on this diagram, Amazon handle that failover for you automatically. So in terms of my exam tips, it's pretty easy. Just remember the differences between a NAT instance and a Bastion instance. A NAT instance is used to provide internet traffic to EC2 instances in private subnets, so they can go and install MySQL or Apache, for example. Whereas a Bastion instance is used to securely administer the EC2 instances using SSH or RDP in private subnets. And in Australia we call them jump boxes. The reason I tell you we call them jump boxes is because it actually makes a lot of sense. You basically jump onto that server, and then once you're in there you can SSH or RDP from that server into your private subnets. So that's it guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. If not, feel free to move on to the next lecture. Thank you.